Hey guys, what's up? It's Smart Baseball. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do a recap of 2021 MLB All-Star Week. Let's get into it. So in this recap, we're only going to do the main events, which are Sirius XM All-Star Futures Game, the MLB Draft, the Home Run Derby, and the All-Star Game, the actual All-Star Game. So we're going to be recapping all that today. Let's go. So first off, we have the NL versus AL All-Star Futures Game. I liked the new format with NL versus AL. It was a fun game to watch. First off, the NL killed the AL. 8-3 sounds pretty commanding win, but the AL hit 0 homers and the NL hit 5. It was crazy. The AL did not hit any homers to drive in their 3, and the NL, they had to hit 5 to drive in 8, but whatever works, they win 8-3. Jose Barrero with the first homer. Michael Toglia hit a homer as well for his home team, the Colorado Rockies, who were hosting it, of course. Great to see him hitting a home run right-handed. He is a switch hitter, so it's interesting. Not many switch hitting first baseman in the league. So he hit 1. Brennan Davis hit 2. He was named player of the game. Outfielder for the Cubs. Had a great showcase in front of the whole world. So he might end up be getting a call soon that he'll be moving up a couple levels. And last but not least, the catcher/DH for the Mets, Francisco Alvarez, went yard as well, pinch hitting. So it was a great game. The AL versus NL All-Star Futures Game. It was a great game to watch. Next up is also something that happened on Sunday, and that is the MLB Draft. I watched the first round live, so it was fun to watch. And with the first pick, the Pittsburgh Pirates selected catcher out of Louisville, Henry Davis, which was very interesting. We weren't all really expecting him to go first. We were expecting one of the two Vandy pitchers, Jack Leiter or Kumar Rocker, to go, but it ended up being Henry Davis, and I kind of get it because the Pirates, they don't really have any good positions, but catcher is one that they really need. Jacob Stallings is getting up there in age and not performing at all, and they just need some help because the minor league system is not producing any catchers either. So they definitely needed that. His numbers at Louisville are eye-popping. Hitting, he was very productive, but especially catching. He had some problems catching the ball, but once he got it, he threw men out at like a 50-50 rate, which is ridiculous, especially in the ACC, one of the premier leagues for college baseball. So he went with the first pick. Second pick, Jack Leiter. We were expecting him first pick to the Pirates, but he went second to the Rangers. It was just a fun thing to watch. Another great event in MLB All-Star Week 2021. So that was fun to watch. Most of it, a lot of the players were actually there at the theater that they were doing it, so it was very fun to watch. Next up is on Monday night, and this is the Home Run Derby. First round was Trey Mancini versus Matt Olson. I'm a Orioles fan, so you could tell I was definitely rooting for Trey Mancini, and I was glad that he beat Matt Olson. A lot of people thought Olson was going to win, and honestly, I kind of thought he was, but I also trusted that Trey Mancini would do his best, and I knew he was going to do well. He did very well beating Matt Olson there. It was great to watch his story. Stage 4 cancer survivor. Last year, that's when he had cancer, so very recent when he had it. Great to see him doing good. Next round was, of course, Trevor Story versus Joey Gallo. This was a little bit of a surprise, and they really did not do near what I thought they would. But Trevor Story ended up narrowly beating Joey Gallo. Of course, Story, he said that he had the advantage, number one, because he's right-handed, and number two, because he's a Rockies player. He knows the stadium and all that. So he ended up narrowly beating Joey Gallo. Neither one of them had good rounds, especially Gallo. I really thought he was going to win, but he ended up taking the L to the home stadium advantaged Trevor Story. So It was a good job by Story. Gallo definitely got hot at the end. And if it was back to the 4-minute round that it has been in the past, I think Gallo would have ended up beating Story by a couple. So that was good. Next round was Pete Alonso versus Salvador Perez, and this was another good one. It was crazy. Pete Alonso hit 35 homers. No one's ever hit as many as he did, so he set the record. Poor Salvador Perez. He had a monster round. He hit 28 home runs. Just unlucky with the luck of the draw. He had none, and he ended up having to face poor Bear. And I predicted that Pete Alonso would win, so I was right. I thought he was gonna win, but I did not expect him to be as pumped up and as crazy good as he was, really. Next round is Shohei Ohtani versus Juan Soto. Of course, Showtime was a little hyped up. I didn't quite think he was going to do good, but I thought he was going to beat Soto, and it ended up going to triple overtime. Actually, just double overtime. And it was really close. It was a 3-swing swing-off, and Juan Soto put on a show in the 3-swing swing-off. He hit all 3 swings were home runs, and Ohtani, the first pitch he was thrown, he hit a ground ball to where the first baseman would have been, so it was a little anticlimactic at the end, but still a great round, of course, with Ohtani. Juan Soto ended up with the longest home run of the game, 521 feet to left center. If he had to hit it to center field in one place, he would have ended up hitting into the first row of the rock pile, which no one has ever hit any baseball close to the rock pile. So it was very impressive how far the balls were traveling. The course effect was definitely in play, so yeah, very interesting to see this. So off to round 2 we go. First round of the second round, if you get what I'm saying, was Trey Mancini versus Trevor Story. I really thought Mancini was going to end up winning this round, and thankfully for me, he did. He put on a pretty good show, beating Story. They both didn't have great rounds, but it was still a fun round to see. Next round was Juan Soto against Pete Alonso, and Soto did good. He just did not stand a chance over the freight train. Pete Alonso, he was so fired up to be there. He was bouncing, dancing to the music while swinging. It was ridiculous to watch. I was watching it live. I've never ever seen a better home run derby performance. And last but not least, the big finale was, of course, my boy Mancini against Alonso, and I was really hoping that Mancini would win. And the crazy thing was they had less time in the championship, and Mancini put on an absolute show. No one else there could have beat him except Pete Alonso, because Pete Alonso is Pete Alonso. He's born for the home run derby. Second time he's won. He's won back-to-back now, 2019 and 2021, of course. A break in 2020, so he ended up winning another $1 million. I'm interested to see what he's going to do with that, but Alonso, at one point, he hit like 8 homers in a row, in like 8 homers in a span of like 20 seconds. It was outrageous. He never missed. Like the back row of left field, he couldn't seem to get it past there. He got like 2 homers past, but he hit like 20 home runs into that row, so if you were sitting there, you probably got a couple homers. I did see one fan in shallow left field. I know he caught 2 homers, so that was a good spot to be, of course, there. So congrats to Pete Alonso on your winning of the home run derby, and I hope to see you in it next year. And the only way I think you won't be in it next year is if you're like severely injured, because I think you could win with 1 arm and 1 leg. That's how good you did, and congrats on your win. And last but not least is Tuesday with the MLB All-Star Game. Big stories, of course, Ohtani leading off and pitching for the AL. He threw a scoreless 1-2-3 first. Didn't strike anybody out, but you don't have to keep men from scoring, so he did that. He had a rather quiet night, 0-for-2, 2 groundouts, but of course, big story was AL winning 5-2 biggest story of them all was Vlad Guerrero Jr. with his 2-run homer to win MVP. Mike Zunino homered as well for the AL. Jared Walsh made a ridiculous catch in left field. He's never played left field before. He's just a first baseman, and he's never played in left field before, and they put him in left field, and he made a game-saving sliding catch with the bases loaded, and Chris Bryant was robbed of that one. And if it fell, it was probably a walk-off, not a walk-off, but a inside the park grand slam, which would have given the NL the lead. It was a crazy game, and yeah, that was just an interesting play out there in left field. Of course, JT Realmuto hit a home run for the NL. They just weren't quite clicking offensively. I would like to thank not Brian Roberts, I'm sorry, I'm an Orioles fan. David Roberts, the Dodgers manager, for adding Manny Machado to the roster. If you all have watched my last couple of videos, you've seen me ranting about him not making the team with how good his numbers are. And he was added to the roster to fill in for some injuries. And he ended up going 1-for-1 with a run and really helping out the NL score, because without him, they scored 1 run instead of 2. So I'd like to thank David Roberts for that. And Manny, good job in the All-Star Game. Good job, Vlad. Good job, JT. Good job, Mike Zunino. And Shohei Ohtani just put on quite the show for the show. The greatest show in baseball had a great week. So, thanks for watching, if of course you are still watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and comment below what you thought about 2021 MLB All-Star Week. Also, subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more content like this. Thanks for watching.